Welcome to episode 75 of Meet the GIMP. My name is Rolf Steinort and I'm recording this in Bremen, northern Germany. I think it's time for photography only session again after we had a lot of other GIMP stuff in the last weeks. And I have a tutorial a video lying around here which covers path and things that you can do with path. It will follow after this one here. Sunday had nasty weather, but I went out to shoot a bit. And I came along this place here. It's near the central train station here in Bremen. A site of a small high-rise building and attaching buildings. You see, it's somewhere from the 60s when people thought they should put in our small town here houses as high as the highest churches. I'll show you another time how this perfectly ruined the cityscape, but well, it is as it is. And I hope this house will come down soon. It's derelict. I came along this passage. Behind me is the main road, and I saw this mixture of rundown and decay, like these leaves here, and otherwise here green leaves on the tree, and a person walking through. And I quickly took the shot here and followed then through with a series of shots. And now let's see which of these shots is the best one. I thought that this woman would walk through, and this was the first shot. And then she just turned around. Here is a drain, and she emptied her bucket. I had waited, I wanted to have her here in the image, or going in here. And so, well, that was nothing. And let's look at the next one. Here she leaves, and this is the first one. Here she enters. Should be 4 images. Okay, here she enters. Here she is walking along. Here she turns, and here she leaves. I started with the second image. Nothing else really changes in these images. I checked them for motion blur. This is shot with 20th of a second at 18mm with the D200, Nikon D200. I can handhold that fairly well, and if I go zoom into this here, you see it's not perfectly crisp, but I think for this is the 18 to 200mm Nikon VR lens. This is not motion blur here, but this is the normal uncrispness of this lens at the end of the range. It's a great lens, but it has a little bit of flaws in the wide and on the both ends. So all the images are really crisp. The only thing that changes is the woman, and I have to decide which one to take. So let's look at what we see here. This is the first one of the images. Here you see her coming in with her bucket. I hadn't noticed the bucket. She is clearly defined in front of this white curtain or barrier here. Seems to be stuff for a cafe or so behind that. And this is okay, I think. Let's look at the next one. Here she has an absolutely undynamic posture, and she's in front of this border between the white and this plywood here at the wall behind. So the face and her head is not very defined here. We can forget about this here. Next one. This has a really good dynamic motion blur in it, but with all the image it doesn't make any sense. If I had caught her here with a tele lens or so, this could have been nice, but this here, it doesn't make sense. When she's here, she has to walk into the image or clearly out of the image. Best position would really be here, not between the tree and the lamp and so on. And I wanted to have her here, going into this gap, but well, she didn't do it. So next image, this one here, and the last one. There again, motion blur, but and well defined in front of the background, but it doesn't say a lot with her posture here. It's I think it's again not very dynamic. I like the bucket here, but well, let's compare with the first image. This is the first one, and I think this is it. Before I tackle this image, I have to make a plan what to do. And I will use a technique described by Vincent Versace in his book Welcome to Oz. I have talked about that book some times ago, and will link to it again. And that is an image map. Not the HTML stuff, but a real map, a plan. And so I just add a layer, a transparent layer on top of this here. Transparency, okay. And I call this layer map. And I make notes on this layer. So now I need a color that is good visible here. Let's take red. I need a pen and a circle 11, that should work good here. Should be enough, have enough visibility. Well, let's enlarge this a bit. So just pull this out. Let's try to write here. Okay, this is perfectly. So what is to be done? Let's look first for the obvious stuff. Well, perhaps I should do a second layer here, not the map, but a plan or a to-do list. So now I'm on the plan. I should look for a crop. But for cropping, I need to know which message I want to transport. So crop, but what? The second thing would be geometry, because you see here these lines should be straight, and they are not. These are lens errors, so geometry correction. Third thing would be luminosity and contrast. So let light and contrast. What to think about, and well, then I don't know. So this is my plan. Now let's look for a map. This image has different areas which which transport a different message. So now I look at the different areas of the image and think about if I want to keep them in or not. So let's start at the top. This roof here, well, it is important to see that you are here in a tunnel or a walkway. but this is too much. So let's simply say here, we'll crop here. This has to go. Okay, right side. I like these reflections here. I'm not so sure about this one here. So perhaps a crop here would be good, but I don't know. Let's just make a question mark there. I don't know if this can't be a reflection. Perhaps it's looking through here and looking out of the window on the other side. No idea. The floor. I'm okay with that. It corresponds with the roof here, the ceiling, and it has to be here in the image. And I want to have in this fall off in light, this darkness here. It makes a nice frame. Okay, left side. This here is a backside of a gambling shop. It doesn't really do anything for the image, so I think this has to go. Now I have this here, this. Well, then I'll cut, sorry, not that here. I'll cut here, just make a dot and then press shift and make another dot, and you get the line drawn, but not in. Okay. Let's do a little bit about the pencil in between, brush dynamics here, pressure, opacity. I'll take that away. I have no fade out here, and so okay. Let's try this again. Yeah, this is right. So this would be a possibility for a crop. Okay, this is okay here. These lines here in here are leading into a point just in front of the woman walking in, so she gets a little bit emphasized by this. Now I have to think about this here. I'm not sure. My eye is drawn into this. This is the only part of the image where a lot of color is, and perhaps this should go too. If you're undecided, there is a trick. Just make, of course, another layer, and let's call that mask. Here's my mask, and now I just select this area I want to take away, and go back to my screen here, and I just pull black color into it. So well, let me get my red back here for my pen. No, I need the move tool now. Well, I think it looks a bit better from the colors, but there is no place where this woman walks to. So I think including this could be nice, but getting these colored windows here out of it, a sex shop, it could be better. Well, okay, I think I should crop here. The backside of the China restaurant here. Well, okay, I can decide that later when I want to crop. Let's look at the tree, by the way. here, the edge of the tree is still there. Even if I crop here, I'll cut that away. So I think I should go to here, crop here. Now I just delete this layer with the mask, and again with the pen make my crop mark here. So this will be my image. Now let's zoom in and have a look what we can do inside this image here. Just selected the zoom tool, and here we are. So the next point on my plan was geometry correction, and well, let's just check what there has to be done. This has to be rotated a bit. Well, let's just zoom into the image. So the image has to be rotated a bit, you see here, and when we go to the side here, perhaps we'll see here a bit of no, we'll have to look at that after rotation, if there is anything to be done with distortion or not. Here we are on the border of the image. So that's another thing, a little bit of chromatic aberration. You see here we have here a violet seam on this here, magenta seam, and here bluish seam on this side, cyan. And this is a sign for chromatic aberration, where the focal points of the different wavelengths didn't hit the same spot on the sensor. So perhaps I have to tackle that too. And here, no, I think the really dangerous areas where the distortion of the image was really plainly visible are cropped out. So no problem there. Then let's talk about light. Just found a nice feature here in the zoom list here. There the value for the zoom I had selected, this 26.3%, is in this drop-down list, and also other zoom levels that I have used. That's pretty nice. Just look into the list and see if your favorite level is in there. So, light. I make a new layer for that, and I call it light. And perhaps I should change the color of my pen, and with this image let's take yellow. I want to have this area darker. This is okay, I think. Perhaps a little bit of added saturation, and I think I should go further with the cut, with the crop, directly to this line to get this here in. So here plus S, I'm not sure, we'll have to see. This is okay, but we can do here a little bit more darkness, and perhaps a little bit of a vignette effect here, over here. Here it is fine, but if I can go a little bit up here, would be nice. And this here, I think this back wall is too bright. This whole area here is too bright. It should become a little bit more gritty, and I think I don't know if it should get more contrast, but well, more contrast, perhaps more contrast between the tree and the lamp here and the background. So this is more contrast here, Don't know, have to try that. And the tree has to become a little bit more prominent, a little bit darker, especially here. And of course the lamp too. It has to come out more prominent. It has to pop out. And so I should leave the back in that lightness. And I think the rest here is okay. Perhaps a little bit darker overall, but I think it's okay. So now I have this here. This should get darker, I think. Then I have a frame of darkness around this area here with the woman walking into the image. And I want to transport a bit of loneliness, of derelicts and grit and so on. Perhaps this is a way to do that. By the way, I haven't tackled this image before. I just don't know where this will end. You are live on stage here, premiere, nothing tried out beforehand. So I switch off my lightness and my map, my crop map, and select the background as my layer. And well, let me put this in here. I double the layer because the next thing I want to do, this geometry correction, isn't it destroys image information, and then I can simply delete the layer and I'm off with my original image. So what do I need? First, I said this image has to be a bit rotated, so I select the rotation tool here, click into the image. Have I already rotated it? I have already rotated it a bit. Okay, but I have to set up the options first here. And this is, I want to have corrective backwards rotation. That means I can rotate, that does mean I align the grid that I'm selecting here, the grid, to the image, and not the image to a grid or to another part of the image. So this grid here will become vertical. I talked about that a number of times. So let's just increase the number of lines and just pull this out of the image. And now let's zoom into the image and look what we've got here. This is, the lamp is a bad ruler because it's clearly tilted. But now I just click and hold the mouse button, the pen, and just rotate this grid here so that these lines are running parallel. And you see here the center of rotation and the center of the image. And let's have a look here. This looks good. This is out of the image later on, so not so interesting. This here, it's pretty straight running up here. Well, not so good. Oh, here you see the distortion. Perhaps I have to work on that too. You see here, this is a little bit of cushion distortion, not cushion, barrel distortion. This is a little bit more outside in the center than on the borders, down and up and down. So here's not so interesting. This is out of my image. Here we are. This is pretty good. I can well, it's perfectly. And now here the top border. Well, as I didn't stood really perpendicular to the thing here, it has to be a little bit distorted. So, okay, let's click on rotate and wait. If I had clicked these locking chains here on, then the other layers would have been rotated too, but now they are not rotated, and I'm very fine with that. So let's rename that to rotated. Next station, cropping, and I select the cropping tool. No options here set. Oh yes, of course, current layer only I should set here. So I have no guides. Well, let's take here the golden section as guides. And now I just click into the image and pull it along, just to check that I'm on the right layer. I'm on the right layer. Okay. I said I wanted to include all of the bottom. So let's go down here. And I wanted to include here, why don't I switch on here my guidance map? Here it is. So I'm pretty well here. And I wanted to exclude this stuff here. So now the crop is, switch off the map. Now the crop has a size of 2500 to 2200. I should think about making this a perfect square. So let's try this. One to one, and when I now go in here, it will flip to 1 to 1. So let's look what's in there. I can pull it over here. Then I have the tunnel in here. I have the tree. I have the person. The tree and the person on these golden lines, on these golden sections. The foot of the tree is here on this point. Well, it could work. Let's see here. This border is also okay on top, a bit much. Well, if I make this a little bit brighter here on top, then it could be really good. Perhaps I'll make this even make a gradient here with light. More light here in the beginning. You see here is a bit more light than here, but just make this lightness here a bit stronger. Can you make lightness stronger? No idea. So I think this is a good idea. So I just, second thoughts, how is it here on the left side? Better this way with the whole. No, let's look here with full zoom into this problem here. If I go here to directly to the corner, I have this red thing here protruding into the walkway. If I move over here, now this is cut off here, but okay, can live with that. I like this neon sign here with on, off, on. It's really run down this area here. And for lightness, I have to remember here these windows to just a bit darker and to emphasize these lamps in there. So let's look here. I think this is pretty perfect. This is good. Let's crop it this way. And here we are with the crop. And I think it could work. I'm not so sure now about this part here on top, but well, if this is a bit lit up, perhaps it works. Perhaps I'll crop a bit more here, just like this here, to get less of this here. I think I should do that. Just make a copy of this layer and try this again here. Let's crop. We are still cropping in a square here. So now I have all the bottom in there. I have a little bit of, you see that you can walk out here, and if I switch here in my layers dialog to rules of third, here we have the woman on the third line, and it's basically these rules are not so important, but a good clue if you are talking about an image or thinking about an image. Where is the center line or so? I think this is even better. Well, let's crop and compare. So this is one version. This is the other. Which one is better? I think this one is better. I'll stay with this crop here. But I have both of them here in layers. And if I want to have the information from this one here, then I can just switch this back on here and have this in my image. So let's lock these, because if anything happens here and I rotate or shift this a bit, the other one will go with it, and I don't have any trouble with registering. I will tackle all these light issues next week. And then I hope my code will be gone too. So I say goodbye up to next week, and if you like to, go to the forum at forum.meetthegimp.org and just have a nice talk there. There are a lot of interesting stuff coming into there. And if you want to comment especially on this episode here, there is a comment function in the blog at meetthegimp.org, or you can write me an email at info@meetthegimp.org. And I think this really was it for this week, and I say goodbye.
photocastnetwork.com, your photography resource in the potosphere. photocastnetwork.com